followed Gabby Petito at all?
I don't know what that is.
I don't even know who that is.
Okay. Gabby Petito was a van life chick, cute girl, and Instagram.
Oh, yeah, her.
She's a big story right now. So she traveled out with her boyfriend. There was a 911 call, a little domestic dispute. And a few days later, she goes missing. Boyfriend goes home without her. Oh, I'm sorry, fiance. And he's like, yeah, I don't know what happened to her. Yeah, it could be anything. Well, now they found her murdered body, homicide.
Ooh.
And
do they know how? Like strangled or shot or?
They haven't told us.
Okay.
Yeah. So all they've released publicly is that they ruled it a homicide, and the boyfriend is now missing from this thing, and they
got him too.
Natural conclusion.
Most people think that he murdered her. He's a person of interest. He wasn't originally officially. Everybody, including me, was like, dude did it, right? You know, they're not getting along. The 911 call is interesting because there's police body cams, and you can see the footage. And she called about this, wanting the police to come help intervene. And then when you got there, she seemed like the bad guy. Dude had scratches on him. He's, he's the more calm, like in dealing with the police. And he's like, she did this, she did that. It's cool. They just separated them. One stayed in the van, one stayed in a hotel for that night. Not a good situation, but also probably not like super. I don't know. I've never had the police or the domestic disturbance at my house, but whatever. Now she's dead. And there's a question of why are they looking at her? She's a pretty blonde woman, or she was anyway. And there's a term for there's a term for missing white woman syndrome. And I think who's the comedian who used to do? Is it Hannibal Buress?
Patrice O'Neill.
What? Yeah. Oh, you're right. You are right.
Yeah.
He used to be
the one
like,
he said, if I ever go out in the ocean, I'm putting a little white girl baby on a keychain.
That's great.
Yeah, just so they come find him. There she is. And that's the dude. That's the fiance. Thanks, Zach. And so they're like, hey, is this missing white woman syndrome where they're only reporting this story because she's a pretty blonde? And there's something to be said for that. Like, I don't know how many can we name?
It's more of a mystery.
Natalie Holloway, Chandra Levy. Like, oh, okay. Seems like that's another valid argument too. And she's an Instagram influencer. I don't know how big her Instagram was, but there are thousands of people following her story and her, wonderful fake van life. And, just what a privilege every day waking in these amazing sunrises is that an Instagrammer might put about van life. So look, if any of us just did the van life thing, and then showed up and then my wife came home and I'm missing, and she pretended yeah, I don't know what happened to that dude. It would be a story too, even though I'm not a pretty young white woman. And because, whatever, 400 million views on my YouTube channel, people would have an interest in it that they wouldn't otherwise. Having said that, tell me all the stories we hear about missing old dudes or missing people of color. It totally doesn't exist.
I don't know. I guess you're really talking about this news media and them. It's what sells.
Yeah, what they report on. Like if he had killed her on the side of the road and the police cam saw it, it wouldn't really be a story. It would be like, oh, this maniac murdered his girlfriend. What a crazy and it wouldn't have gone anywhere. Like the guy, her being missing. Body found in the woods,
like a
guy
mystery.
Disappears. It's I think the mystery is what drives a lot of people, because true crime is huge. Some of the biggest podcasts in the world are true crime.
Have you ever seen Mr. Ballin on YouTube? The guy used to be a Navy. I hope I'm getting his name right. It's Mr. and then Ballin. Ballin is spelled Ballen, and he does 5 videos a week. He's an ex-Navy SEAL, and he does these one of his more popular video series is called 3 Places You're Not Allowed to Go and People Who Went There. And it's things like restricted areas, dangerous places to go, things like spelunking down, cave diving, and things like that. You know, you get that sign. It's like there's nothing beyond this sign worth dying for, and these assholes go anyway, and they don't even have the right nitrogen mixture for their scuba tanks, and they end up getting like nitrogen drunkenness and then dying down in holes and stuff. He has some really creepy videos. There's this guy who was actually like a quasi YouTuber, and he was one of those guys who does like extreme hiking. It's like when you just go off into the desert for like a couple days, like just kind of wandering. And he had claimed in his YouTube video that he found this cave out near Area 51 near Nellis Air Force Base. And that when he tried to enter it, it felt like his body was vibrating. And he couldn't go any further. And he was overcome with this sensation of vibration in his body, and he couldn't go into the cave. And, you know, they're like, bullshit, no way. And then some people were like, well, fucking go back and document it, dude. And like, he was like, you know what? I am going back. Well, he goes back and he's like, I couldn't find it. I was out there for 3 days and I couldn't find it. And like, the fact that he kind of came back and said, I couldn't find it rather than disappearing kind of led a little credence to his original story. Yeah. And they're like, a lot of people kind of getting behind him, like, dude, go back. We want to know more about this. He goes back a third time and he's never seen from again. They send out huge search parties, and all they ever find is his cell phone sitting in the sand out in the middle of nowhere with no damages or blood or scratches or anything. They never found him. And he's got lots of creepy fucking stories like that. And like, I'll watch like 6 of them in a row, and then I'm just like, you know what? This is fucking me up. I gotta
really
change the channel.
Cool looking channel. Like I've never.
It's
heard
a
of
great
this guy.
channel. You can binge the fuck out of it.
I love spooky
so much
shit like this. The spooky, the mystery. So like, yeah, I need to watch some of this guy's stuff. But I think, just especially surrounding this like missing thing, from what I've heard from you, like the mystery seems to be the driving factor.
Mysteries are cool, and then like he's a very good storyteller. So like, you're kind of hanging on to every word. Like, yeah, and then what? Yeah, okay. Oh, he'll present the mystery. He's like, and then they smelled something funny, but no one knew what it was. And you're like, well, what was it? And then finally he's like, what had happened was a man was being chased by police. He fled up a fire escape onto the roof of the grocery store, went into what's sort of, you know, some stores will have like this thing that makes it look much bigger than it really is, like on the storefront. And it was hollow. This big signage was hollow and had a little door to access the inside of it, maybe to change bulbs or something. He went into that. Hot summer day. And the store had those pillars out in front, those with like stone laid into them, kind of like some fireplaces will have in cabins. But it's hollow. It's, you know, it's a hollow pillar. For some reason, he climbed down into the hollow pillar, feet first, one arm pinned by his side, the other above his head. And he kept sliding all the way down into the pillar until he was jammed in. And he's technically right in front of the entrance to a busy grocery store, but no one can hear his screams because he can't really get a breath because he's so compressed. Hot summer's day. They find him 5 days later because he's leaking goo out. He's dead. He's been rotting. And it's smelling so badly that they call like a repairman or a plumber. They call it plumber because they think it's a sewage issue. But he peels off one of the blocks off the wall, and they see the guy's leg. And like, there's so many stories like that, like just ridiculous stories.
That sounds like cool.
Yeah, it's a good channel. He's an interesting guy. Like I said, ex-Navy SEAL is. I haven't watched his video where he explains that, talks about his backstory, but his stories are really well told, and they're often dark and mysterious and fascinating. He talked about the catacombs in, is it Paris, that has those catacombs underneath with like 7 million people buried down there, and there's miles of them. There's some creepy shit about that I watched a video of. Interesting channel. It's one of my favorites right now.
Yeah, I need a new mystery or a crime thing to watch. It's a very fascinating little I guess genre.
It's so hip right now. Yeah. My wife is watching it. She just consumes, like, every night she's watching more murder stuff. And some of it's poorly done, but she can't get enough of it.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah. I like his channel a lot. Some of it is just like dumbass of the week, essentially. Like there was this artificial lake. You know, they built a dam and now there's a lake. And they have this thing called a spillway. when I envisioned a spillway, it's water flowing over the dam in a certain area, but a spillway, the way he referred to it, is this circular pipe out in the middle of the lake where water just flows over the top of it, over the lip of it, straight down 200, 250 feet, and then goes under the dam and out that way. That way the water level never gets too high. It's very wide, like wide enough probably for a car to fall into. This chick swims out to it because she wants to like peek over the edge and look down into the hole. And she like swims past signage, warning, like past buoys and rope. And she gets to the edge and there's so much current that she's washed in, but she grabs the edge and she's holding the edge for 20 minutes waiting on rescue personnel. And then she, it's a woman, so she's got no grip strength. So she falls 200 feet down.
Shit. Man would have been fine.
I'd have fucking done a muscle up, ejected myself out of the water like Aquaman, done like 2 wiggles like Michael Phelps, and I'd have been back on shore.
Yeah,
but her,
that's what guys do.
That's what guys do.
Guys are pretty cool.
We do.
Remember the stone cutters?
The stone cutters.
Yeah. Who keeps the metric system down? Who do something?
We do.